I'd like to thank Dr. Scholes for a very interesting discussion on biodiversity. I think this is one of the first times I've heard where not only is it aesthetic or ethical, but there really is a purpose to our own lives for protecting the biodiversity. And he highlighted the importance of shared information and interoperable infrastructure, things that we're working on to promote biodiversity and understand and maintain it. This is a good example in GeoBon of what can be done with GEOS and the globe working together. Thank you. The next and final presentation of our morning plenary is Inspire in the Global Dimension. In the agenda that you have printed, it shows that Max Kralia will be doing the presentation. We're very privileged to have Alessandro Annoni to give the information on Inspire in the Global Dimension. Alessandro has more than 25 years of experience in various environmental fields, working on spatial planning, environmental modeling. The list can go on. It includes, in fact, things like remote sensing and image processing. He's participated in many European projects, including GIGAS, Orchestra, GENI, EuroGeos, etc. Alessandro joined the JRC in 1997 and is head of the Spatial Data Infrastructures Unit. Since 2006, I've had the privilege of working with him as a co-chair of the GEOS Architecture and Data Committee. Alessandro.
Thank you, Jay. I should tell you that the slides are not the slides that Max prepared for his presentation, so any concern about what I will present is on me and not on Max. But we show the interoperability of people, not only the interoperability of data replacing each other. My presentation will focus mainly on what we can offer as Inspire community to the development of global information systems. I think that we have a lot of offer. We are already contributing to some of the major streams, but you will see in my presentation there are 6 challenges that I have identified in order to streamline the Inspire community contribution. And I start with this slide that is showing the complexity in working in Europe. The European Union is a young animal with countries that are progressively joining the European Union. It takes time to adapt to develop, and it takes time to adapt to develop a real European culture. In particular, we are also facing the problem, and was also raised yesterday in the presentation of Professor Marglade, the political and physical Europe are still different. So we are regulating Inspire, but Inspire is only regulating the EU member states, but we saw also in the presentation of Gavin that other countries, our neighbor countries, are starting to think about using Inspire, Inspire specification, Inspire lessons to develop their own national SDI without having a legal obligation to do it. So this slide is a collection of problems that we were addressing starting in 2003 when we start thinking about the concept of developing a European SDI. We were facing with different culture, with different tradition in terms of cartographic choice of different countries, different reference systems, for example, the difference in the sea level across the different countries in Europe. We solve all this problem through a process involving all the actors and establish a consensus, a converge through common agreement. And we still face another quite challenging problem, the 23 languages that we have to master as European Union. We want to respect the principle that we don't want to force the member states to adopt a common language, and this causes a lot of clearly difficulties in implementing some of the Inspire concepts. But so far, we were solving all these problems. We were able to find solutions. And so we have a lot of things to transfer to the other people that we will face the same challenges and the same complexity. And we have to start to reflect now how our contribution could be put on the table of the development of the various initiatives that include in GeoBond that were mentioned before. So what I did yesterday night, after good dinner, is to draft 6 inspired challenges that I will be very pleased to discuss with you and to share with you and to revise in case that you are not in line with my personal recommendation. The first point when I prepared this presentation was try to understand what is happening in the global arena, which are the initiatives, which are the community that are trying to, I will say, promote interoperability across the world. And you have several actors of several nature. We have standardization bodies like OGC, ISO. We have associations that try to build capacity building, awareness raising like GSDI. You have initiatives like UNSDI that has been presented before in a very comprehensive way by SUA that try to establish SDI within a specific organizational framework. We have programs like GMS, we saw yesterday in the presentation, that is one of the potential contribution for the future to the creation and collection of information through the user space and satellite technologies. But you have many others, including the role that the industry like Microsoft and Google are playing more and more, and the role of agencies like the European Environment Agency, UNEP, or the US Environment Protection Agency that are not limiting the sphere of influence to their continent, but they are developing some kind of global information system. And the last but not least, the International Society for Digital Health that is exploring new ways and new technologies that in the future could be applied in the SDI context. So the landscape is complex. I put on the mid of this landscape Geo. Why? Because I think the first challenge is for our community is to identify which are the key initiatives in which we have to focus our effort. And when we identify this initiative, my recommendation that we need to contribute to their development by plugging our component and services. This is why I consider GEO and GEOS the right framework since the beginning. When a long time ago, the 3 services of the Commission, DG Environment, Eurostat, and the Joint Research Center agreed to work together to develop INSPIRE, I was pleased to take the responsibility for the link with international initiative. And since the beginning, I have identified GEO as the right framework to develop, to promote the development of, I would say, a global environmental information system. So, GEOS, why GEOS? Because GEOS has the same character of INSPIRE, is an intergovernmental initiative of 81 countries. Yesterday, Gabon joined GEOS, so we have a real-time updating of the slide comparing to what was presented by Alan yesterday. And we have 58 already international organizations. Some of the organizations that I showed in the previous slide are already members of GEO. So GEO is providing the framework to work all together, and we saw the excellent work that the GeoBond is doing for biodiversity. The GEOS is also quite similar as a concept to INSPIRE. It's a system of systems. Like INSPIRE is a European spatial infrastructure built upon national spatial data infrastructure, built upon regional spatial data infrastructure, built upon local spatial data infrastructure when it's appropriate. So, how we can plug in our system and component to GEOS? The easy part is just to register INSPIRE component and services to the GEO common infrastructure. It's very easy. There is a registry in which component services can be registered, and there is also a registry in which INSPIRE specification, INSPIRE de facto standard could be registered. And then these resources are automatically becoming available for global users. But I think that we can do more. The GEO common infrastructure is only one part of GEOS. You have to consider that GEOS is much more than the GCI. And then you have community portals. And we have community portals at the regional level, the INSPIRE portal, but community portals at